is Silvana, and I'm going to answer 3 questions about the topic I chose, that it was the second one, and the name is the Internet Revolution and the Information and Communication Age. Okay, I'm going to try to answer the 3 questions, and is how is current communication different from 20th century mass communication? Well, we know that in this area we have the internet, social media, television, but in the 20th century it was a little bit different. The media were dominated by the radio and was invented in the beginning of 1901, the newspaper and the television created in 1920s. A funny fact is that the first broadcast in Mexico was invented in 1921. So it doesn't sound different, but the way we share the information is so abysmal. First we don't listen the radio anymore, just in cars, and maybe not either. And well, we have social media. They didn't have social media. And the second one is, what were the decisive invasions that guided the transformation of communication in 20th century? I consider that was the TV in color, because since now the psychology will come in to change the way of convincing and attracting more people, since colors are responsible for transmitting emotion and influence people, we have to remember that the television was created black and white. So maybe it's a tiny detail, but colors are more responsibility of the way that you think and perceive the world and your life. So I think it was one of the invasion that made a revolution about how we live. We can also say the invasion of the mobile phone in 1973 and the invasion of the internet in 1943, because without these two, we will not able to have access to information quickly and consciously, and we wouldn't have social media, social networks, and that which has become a essential part of our lives. Since sharing information about anything shared massively, they're depending on your pleasure. So without those essential invasion that we have in our life, we wouldn't have a life that we have now. Maybe we'll different, maybe wouldn't be fake news or news that their purpose is have fear in the public. So yeah, that's two invasions are so important, and the TV color. And the third one is how so-called fake news represent an undesirable product of this information age, if these are their own and exclusive to this moment. They are not exclusive to this moment. Fake news exists along the years, but it was more difficult to know that it was true or false, because the responsible for transmit the information was the state. And now no, we have the freedom to know that is true or not. Fake news are undesirable because they cause confusion, concern, and fear to the public, since or not they unconsciously manipulate people's judgment. Many times people find out that it was false. However, a small percentage doesn't find out, and this is why the cycle and gossip don't end. Fake news, as I say, always exist. They are never of the moment, but before they were more difficult to verify. Pues that information was true. And I want to say about the one example that is Stephen Glasses, what is a former that was a former journalist for the American magazine The New Republic, who was fired for creating false articles as well as quotes, sources, and events in 1997. And in an interview, he says he didn't want to lose her job, so he made all the stories, he created all the sources. That's why I say it was more difficult to investigate and know that it was true, because if you didn't have the privilege to have a computer or have access of the information, was difficult and was easy to manipulate. Now it's easy to manipulate, but also it's easy to investigate it was true or false. So is I chose this topic because for me it was interesting to know the difference, how people communicate, share information, and how they entertainment. And it's the fact that I say about Stephen Glasses, I watch it in YouTube and say I wanted to talk about it in my project, and it's all. I'm sorry for my pronunciation and how I make the oraciones. I try.